Hi everybody, it's me, the Fetch, host of Inside the Eye Live. Before the Sunday mainstream media political pundit talk shows, there is Inside the Eye Live, where we break down some of the weekly mainstream media talking points before the talking points even get aired. Add in some entertaining stories, weather, cats, intriguing and informative guests, and you get one of the most listened to Saturday morning streaming media political talk shows going today. And it's all right here on our flagship station, Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. So join me, the Fetch, for Inside the Eye Live every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern. It is truly intelligent media for the politically aware.
Welcome to Sacred Matrix, a divine paradigm of love and universal consciousness, with your host, Janet Kira Lessin and Dr. Sasha Lessin.
Together, we transform the world.
And now, here are your hosts, Janet Kira and Dr. Sasha Lessin.
Like the great prophet Nostradamus, Dr. Louis-Turi was born and raised in Provence, France. Following 4 incredibly solid UFO experiences, he was influenced to rekindle Nostradamus' methods of divine astrology and spent many years reviving the Seer's rare cabalistic healing methods. In 1976, he graduated from the Royal School of Music in London with the highest distinction. He moved to the U.S. in 1984 and has since established himself as a successful hypnotherapist, an astropsychologist, author of 4 books, and a powerful motivational speaker. In 1993, he received a metaphysical doctorate from the Progressive Universal Life Church based in Sacramento, California, and his notoriety has skyrocketed after hundreds of accurate predictions, such as 9/11, the Asian tsunami, Iraq War, SARS fires, and the unarguable predictions of major earthquakes that he has made on television and radio programs. And Dr. Turi is a French astrologer, clinical hypnotherapist, astropsychologist, and, okay, that's recruitment. And then we go on. He regularly publishes his predictions under the forms of quatrains and keywords on all major websites, Facebook, MySpace, and all these other things in his Cosmic Code newsletters. So his bio is very long. I recommend you search for him. And Dr. Lessin would like to say something before we bring on Dr. Turi.
Well, I find that it's very interesting, not only whatever the ontological status of the astrological influences that people have taken what they take as the sort of the standard archetype of the different zodiacal signs, and they actually identify with them, and they become their sub-personalities or aspects of themselves. And it's fascinating. Whatever, and of course, those are somewhat idiosyncratic and somewhat universal. So I'm very, very interested to hear what Dr. Turi has to say about all this.
Yeah, so Dr. Turi is going to do some astrology readings during the course of the show. And what he needs is your birth date and the question which you can put in the chat for our producer, Sean, and he will get those to us. Okay, Dr. Turi, welcome to the Sacred Matrix. Thank you so much for coming on our show.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Janice, Sasha, and Sean. In reference to what Sean just mentioned about the stars, one must be born with a advanced UCI to enter the archetypal realm of consciousness or to enter the intuitional domain of what astrology has to offer. And again, even that people believe all men were created equal. I don't think I would pick up a fight with Tyson. Physically or spiritually, men are extraordinarily different. In fact, when I refer to someone's astrological chart, I use the letter UCI, which stands, of course, for Unique Celestial Identity. And to make it easy for you to understand, you probably look like your mom, your dad, maybe your siblings, but in the world of the spirit, you are a total stranger to your closest family member because you're never going to think, behave, create, feel, or have the same fate than any one of your family members. And that's why UCI is kind of appropriate to point out the values of astroforensics. That explains, Sean, a little bit?
Yeah, so I didn't quite get it 100%, but it says what you're saying is we're all different people. We don't have the same. So tell us a little bit more about that. How does that work? You're coming in, and there's two different types of astrology, right? There's the I don't know, you know more about it than I do. Like in one astrology, I'm a Capricorn, the other one I'm an Aquarian. So how does that work? How can it be two different signs?
Well, first of all, you're not a Capricorn or an Aquarius. You are every single sign of the zodiac. In fact, you are the exact opposite of what modern astrology teaches. For example, if you were born in January, you will face the world as a Cancer, which is emotional and sensitive. This doesn't take away the reality that this sign is controlled by Saturn, which is very logical, very rational. So let's take, for example, somebody born in November. If you want to know how somebody born in November think, if you want to know his mental capacity, critical thinking, you go into his third house, which means November, December, January. This means all people born in November are born engineers, rational, logistics, and that's where the sarcasm is coming from, because their aptitude to see the facts. But Scorpio is also ruled by a planet called Pluto, which is also highly intuitive. So when you look at it, every Scorpio is highly spiritual. They all faces the world as Tauruses. That's why they attract those born in May. That represents how Scorpio usually end up with very wealthy partner or partner that have great option to make a lot of money through contracting themselves. There is a world of information for each sign of the zodiac. And again, teaching astropsychology or astroforensics, the way I do it has nothing to do with modern astrology, which usually start and finish on your horoscope newspaper, mostly because they do not emphasize anything about the natal dragon, the hidden dragon. They don't know nothing about cosmic biorhythm, which depict, of course, why people get killed. There will be days when you get up in the morning, you will feel very low, very depressed, and from the moment you get up to the last seconds before you fall asleep, your day is miserable. Negative calls, you meet the wrong people, you got the wrong mail, you got all sorts of negativity that seems to harass you, and that is because you are suffering one of your negative cosmic biorhythm. At the same time, you can have a complete opposite set of stars, a wonderful windows of opportunity produced by those stars. The next thing you know, you are at the right place at the right time, and you win the lottery. In fact, only yesterday 2 cops were killed and another one was killed today. And when I look at the cosmic biorhythm of these people, it is not surprising that they get killed, mostly because, of course, they are in a profession that is extraordinarily demanding, very dangerous. They are facing criminals all the time. So they are in a position where they cannot afford not to know their personal cosmic biorhythm, because ignorance is evil and knowledge is power. A lot of people who suffered a premature death could be alive today if that wisdom was reachable.
So they could just stay in bed that day. I'm calling in sick. I'm not going to work that day.
That's like a, he's Mr. Customer, I don't want to go. How can they avoid going, you know?
Yeah, you know, there is no accident at all. There is no accident, no act of God. There is only cosmic circumstances in effect that are not yet. They haven't been investigated. They are not known by society or science, which sadly enough assumes that the work that I do in my profession happens to be nothing else than a pseudoscience. So in the name of their ignorance, millions of people have died, and millions of people will die unless they raise their cosmic consciousness and understand that God created the stars and the heavens to be used as signs so that you may lead a safer and a more productive life. There is nothing else that induce those accidents, but the stars. In fact, we are all children of the stars. We are.
I just wanted to say, you mentioned cosmic consciousness, and before we get too far down there, what is cosmic consciousness that we have to raise?
Cosmic consciousness is the awareness of the hieroglyphs of the universe. Cosmic consciousness does not happen overnight. I'm 65 years old. I have been working in rebuilding astrology since I can't remember. Cosmic consciousness is to be aware of the universal mechanics outside of traditional astronomy and deceptive, archaic religious beliefs. Cosmic consciousness is represented by the sign of Pisces. You have one that swims downstream, following one of the 875 different religions. The sign that produced Osama bin Laden, Joel Osteen, the people that get addicted, the people that suffer a very heavy Neptune in their chart, or Pisces energy, swim all the way down to addiction, madness, drugs, alcohol, dependency, and ultimately suicide. That's the negative fish who swims downstream. The positive fish has produced people like Einstein, Michelangelo, George Washington, dr-louis-turi. I'm also a Pisces. And aiming upstream is not an easy game because, like a salmon, the water that you are swimming against is like more of a muddy water with branches and rocks and trees. And worst of all, you do have falls that you have to endure in order to go back to your birthplace as a child of the universe, the stars where you came from. And that cosmic consciousness cannot be reached either scientifically or religiously. And that's why it's one of the hardest tasks for any human to uncover and free his soul from fear and from ignorance.
Okay, Louis, I was just, this is since this is January and Christmas time, I'm just wondering what you have to say about January in general and Jesus in particular.
Let me ask you another question because I did not hear you well. Were you born in January yourself?
No, Jesus was a Capricorn, and he ate organic food. And he believed in love and peace and never wore no shoes. And I'd like to know about his astrology.
Well, there are two signs that are prone to religious poisoning, Capricorn and Libra. Let me explain to you why. If you count 3 from January, February, March, you will end up in the 3rd house of any Capricorn. And this means religion is pretty much where a lot of young souls born in January we go for. And that's why you also have people like Muhammad Ali, born in January, that turn himself into a Muslim. And sad enough, in my newsletter that I wrote tonight, and my warning, he's currently in the hospital suffering pneumonia, and he was also born with the tail of the dragon in Pisces in his 3rd house. So it's very normal for him to suffer Alzheimer's disease and to become religiously poisoned and turn himself into Muslims. There is reasons for Muhammad Ali to have done what he did and turn himself into Muslim. He saw a predicament, he saw predicted, he's already preset by the cosmic code affecting his mind. Now, Jesus, if he was born in January, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that his critical thinking was very nebulous, was very spiritual, that is very Neptunian. And Pisces is the sign of destitution. But the Pisces doesn't have any grounding. That's why it's very easy for anybody who has a very strong Neptune in the chart or a very strong Pisces in the chart to follow guru, to get addicted with pot, to see life through rose-colored glasses and have no sense of practicality whatsoever. And Pisces rules also exotic places and remote areas in the islands. And this is why Reverend Jones killed and poisoned over 1,000 innocent people in the middle of nowhere with Kool-Aid, because Pisces rules the poisoning of the body, the mind, and the soul. The negative fish, remember, I'm still a Pisces. Now, this sign rules the Middle East. That's why all the 3 major, youngest, deadliest religions were born. Christianity, Judaism, and of course, Muslims. All in the Middle East. That's where Jesus was born, in the Middle East. The entire country is under the jurisdictions of Neptune. Neptune was poisoning. Now, this country does not only poison the spirits of all the people who are falling for Neptune being unconscious, but Neptune also rules the oil and poison the ozone layer. There is so much information involving the gods of antiquity, and I understand why the Illuminati are doing all they can to make sure I get no voice to educate the masses, science is keeping it underground. Meantime, if you Google Dead Sea Scrolls secret and add dr-louis-turi, you will read that all the popes since forever were taught astrology by the Vatican Council. There is so much conspiracy going on against the mother of all science, astrology. It is just incredible. And worse, the scientific and religious matrices who cannot understand God, cosmic divinity, are tearing themselves apart, giving birth to a very, very dangerous atheist movement who are aiming to live with a godless world. And that is extraordinarily dangerous for humanity's future.
Could you tell us a little bit about your predictions for 2015? You know, today is the winter solstice. We're coming upon a new year, and people on the board are asking, will Dr. Turi give us any 2015 predictions?
In order to understand the future, I must bring you back into the past, and at the same time ask you to, to use your judgment to see if my claim can be proven or accepted as real. So let's go back a few years ago when I made the predictions on the Scorpius Draconis, when I wrote and printed in my book that the FBI would be caught with prostitution, the restructure of the IRS. We were also, as I wrote, about to lose our privacy, and anything secret and sexual and dirty will come to the light. So I guess this did happen. In reality, even the security service were forced to be restructured. So everything that was under came to the light. And also I mentioned an explosion of sexuality on television that, of course, came to pass. Now, currently, and until October 2014, the tail of the dragon is in the sign of Aries. And in my prediction, I choose Heil Hitler. The spirit of Hitler will be born again. The next thing you see on television, as Aries rules the head, is people heads being cut off. Now, this sign rules the army, the navy, and I mentioned he was going to go particularly against children. And you can see not long ago, just a few days ago, how many children, I think 120 kids, were killed by ISIS. This dragon also stimulates invasion, and the spirit of Hitler was perceived and acted out in the annexation of Ukraine by Vladimir Putin. Aries was war, danger, aggressivity, explosion, fire. As soon as this dragon came to light, a few weeks before, I predict the death of 16 firefighters in Arizona. And again, all my work, as you know, is well documented, dated, and printed and published in all major medias. So that if you believe and if you trust all that I said, and you can check it, is the reality, then you better be aware of what the future has to offer. So the next dragon will be moving into Pisces. And this means a complete restructure of religion, complete restructure of the Middle East, a lot of poisoning. And if you look at the news, there is a lot of poisoning going on, a lot of religious problems we are facing. And at the same time, this Pisces dragon will induce sexual transmitted disease. You can see again that when I predict a new disease, old disease will be gone and a new one will be born. The next thing you know, you have 2 or 3 diseases that came up and plagued us. Not to forget, of course, Ebola. So this dragon coming to us may take the life of the Pope because he's the leader, the representative of the false god on earth, put it this way. Then you have to remember, President Obama is a Leo. And if you want to know the house of death of somebody, you've got to go into the 8th house, which means if you count 8 from August, because he was born in August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, the tail of the dragon will be in the 8th house of death of President Obama, a prediction that I made on Coast to Coast so many times, and all of my radio will come to pass. But people, this type of prediction brought a couple of FBI agents in my house warning me to stop.
Let me see. Are you telling President Obama, beware the Ides of March?
Yes. When this dragon I already put that to the public. I already gave the month of March and September 2015. And if the NSA and if people are still stubbornly unresponsive to my calls, it's just a matter of time before not only President Obama or the Pope, but many people suffer death, and especially when they are totally oblivious of the cosmic biorhythm. As I said earlier, not every day is the same. If you happen to have a very negative time, which is a set of negative stars based upon your dragon, natal or hidden, I guarantee you that you're going to have an accident, you're going to break your leg, or you're going to get killed. I'm constantly with celebrities which I can trace their date of birth. I constantly double check that astrological discovery. And my God, I do not understand in the name of God how it is possible for people to go out there not knowing this. It's pretty much like deciding to go shopping and completely ignore the red light or the stop sign in the street because you do not see those signs, because you do not know about those signs. Doesn't mean you're not going to pay the penalty.
Dr. Turi, I have a question. So you're saying that this is in March for Obama, this horrible time where, he could die. And how could someone, avoid that future?
As I said, it is incredible for people to walk the street not knowing about their cosmic biorhythm. It's like if you decide to go shopping today and ignore every red light and every stop sign in the street. The problem that we have is that you have been educated rationally and logically to understand and respect the physical laws that were written by men. But true prophets who can understand the face and the tools of God and translate the sign accordingly and precisely like I do are very rare. Not only we all very rare, because there are a lot of people like me over there, but they are ridiculed. It's important. It's very important to realize that knowledge is power, ignorance is evil, and even more important to realize that God created the stars and the heavens to be used as signs so that you may live a safer, more productive life. Meantime,
you said something about the Middle East being under the influence of a certain sign. I'm wondering what influence, what's the main influence over America and over Hawaii here, where we live?
Well, America is July 4, 1776. It's a cancer country. This is why only in America people will spend billions of dollars to lose fat. Because the rest of the world is starving, this country has more food than is needed. And it's a cancer country. Cancer was home, family, real estate. Cancer was anything to do with security and apple pie and baseball. America is a cancer country. You understand me?
Yeah.
Right. America has the tail of the dragon, which is negative, into the sign of Aquarius. Now, Asia, particularly Japan and North Korea, South Korea, are Aquarius' country. This is why Japan is suffering so much natural disaster, earthquakes, and even tsunami. And this is why Japan is the first country and the only country in the world who has experienced a nuclear attack at the same time. Japan is on the tail of America, which clearly explains why you guys suffered the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor. as much as America suffered the surprise attack on 9/11, which I predicted in full detail a year before in my books. But people are not paying attention enough to Dr. Turi. Now, Hawaii is a mixture of Sagittarius and Pisces. I used to live in Hawaii. I had the most wonderful time in my life. It's a wonderful, beautiful place. And people, true Hawaiian, are really connected to the spirits. And that's just the way it is. And that's where Pisces is. So, obviously, Hawaii will be touched drastically, especially corporations that use ships, cruise liner. You know, people decide to go on a cruise line, take a trip, fly, go anywhere without checking the universal laws, without checking their cosmic biorhythm. The next thing you know, everybody comes back constipated or poisoned. And that's what the problem is stupidity in these largest, oh my gosh, I even lack the words to explain, humongous stupidity in the name of religious conviction, in the name of skepticism. People are dying nonstop like flies, especially the police, which I've been trying to reach since 1991, making them aware. In fact, I am totally disgusted. I don't know if you read my last newsletter, but I went to a website. This website is designed specifically to talk about the police matters. And this website does a phenomenal work when it comes to discuss affairs involving the police. But at the same time, it's called officer.com. I went there and I posted a request. I asked them to check my methodology and to give me a chance to speak to some police groups to show them that I know what I'm talking about by giving them some very specific dates. 5 minutes later, they told I was fired for spamming, when all I did is to try to save these people, is to help them. I am so disgusted by the response of the people that are born moron and cannot appreciate ingenuity because they're not curious. They're born stupid. They're born with a very inferior UCI and cannot enter the archetypal realm of consciousness. And even with my guidance, they still curse me. They are in a hunt witch business in this website. And as soon as they read my name, Dr. Turi, 5 minutes later, I was nailed to the cross, and I was just kicked out.
Wow. What do you think will happen in you said something like October 2015? What's going to happen in October?
Well, first of all, what I'd like to do before we get too much into the show, I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to ask, of course, the entire audience to make notes right now, because I want to prove to officer.com moderators that they are true morons. The first date, I'm going to give you some dates, and I want you to take the time to write them down, okay?
Okay.
Something that I could not do on this website, I'm going to do it on your show.
Okay.
This acts as proof in the future, of course, because the future has always been my witness. Write these dates down, and remember, on those days, how many police officers will be killed, how much terrorism will happen, how many disasters we kill people, crazy people, we shoot everybody. Is that clear enough?
Okay.
Right. Okay. So, the first one are December 30th and 31st. I don't want to go too far so that people remember. But now I'm going to push you all the way up to January and February 2015. I mean, this is pretty far, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
January 24th and 25th. And then February 20th and 21st. Do you have those dates? I repeat, December 30th, 31st, January 24th, 25th, and February 21st.
Got him.
These are my SOS police windows. This is where a lot of the people, a lot of the cops that communicate in officer.com will be no more on this planet. See, cars have been stopped reaching the police. And then I always say to them, my spam, SPAM, is simply servicing the pathetic atheist mind for free. That's what it is. And I get really upset because I am there totally dedicated, well ahead of those educated, I don't want to say the word moron anymore, but
Right.
it really fits that.
So these police officers...
Perhaps, Dr. Turi, it's their fate and their destiny to die when it's their day to die.
Exactly. This is just, I picked up the worst date possible that could affect the police force. And I know there are a lot of cops are listening to this show, trust me. Okay, knowing that I am a very close friend to the New York Captain of Police, okay, and tons of other cops and detectives that are reading my work, including my own very city mayor and doctors and attorneys and very, very prominent people are reading my work. And then I'm trying to help the very people here and they get shot by the police on this police website. That's terrible. So those dates, I picked up those dates for the very purpose to prove to them that they should not have shot me. They shot the messengers before the messengers could warn them that many of them are going to lose their life on those days. So what
would you recommend they do to avoid this?
They are laughing. Some of them are laughing right here, right now, because they don't have the mental dexterity to comprehend my work. To them, I am another Mrs. Cleo. I am another ghoul, a monger of hell. They don't understand that I am a scientist dedicated to help them to understand the cosmic code. You know, I am about 50 years ahead of time.
If you were to tell them how it works, that is, why those dates are so dangerous, how would you explain that to them?
But first of all, they would have to invite me. And then it'd be so easy because I would take my software that I design, I would get and gather an incredible amount of proven past predictions of the many windows where so many cops get killed. I will, you know, I remember many years ago, I signed a certified letter to Del Gates. He was then the police chief of L.A., and I gave the exact date of Rodney King happening. And then I told him that's going to burn the city. He never answered me. At the same time, I signed another certified letter to Chief of Police of San Diego, Burr Green. I don't know his name. I remember now. Burr Green. I told him on August 15, I cannot remember the year, he will caught one of his police officers doing something stupid. And exactly on the date that I gave, the Torrey Pine police rapist was caught because he dropped his flashlight looking for praise after raping a young girl on the beach.
Wow.
And this is why the San Diego mayor, Roger Edgecock, invited me on his show to talk about this. But nobody has left a finger. Not the scientific community, not the police, trying to gather a little bit of intelligence here. I mean, you're talking about the police, the people that are supposed to serve and protect us. You're talking about detectives. They are the first one not only not to honor the word science and do real investigation and behave like real detective, but they are also the first one to infringe a set of laws I'm trying to teach them. So I am the first cosmic cop on the planet, put it this way. Well, and then,
so we got to February. Is there anything else going to happen before the end of the year and the first part of the year besides the police?
Well, yes, there is many things that is going on. But you need to understand that I use the police because too many people are dying because of their position, of the job they're doing. But anything under the stars is controlled by the stars. And this is why on the Cosmic Code website, every single month, I generate a forecast. I generate horoscope, upgraded horoscope, moon transit, where every single day of the month, I personally and universally guide all my VIPs. Now, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Providing, of course, both of you are welcome to join the Cosmic Code website as my guest, okay?
Thank you.
That's the first thing I want to do for you. Now, all your listeners, instead of saying Dr. Turi is full of it, why don't they jump in the opportunity that I'm giving right now to actually get a real test of my work? And all they have to do is to go to dr-louis-turi.com. Well, please go to you can go to dr-louis-turi.com. Is the best way to get your cosmic biorhythm. This service normally costs $125. It's done after I study the map and over the internet. Pretty much the same day or day later, you get the result. But you can get this for. I brought the price for my VIPs and for the public to $50. So that is an offer that I'm giving all your listeners.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how many of the people that are listening to your show goes to Google, but I have a Google page, obviously. And if they Google holiday super deal, it's your lucky day, or they could also Google better, will you die today or win the lottery? That's a very simple line to remember. Will you die today or win the lottery? Google that and add a Dr. Turi. If you want to know why gays are gays, write gays and put Dr. Turi behind the word gay, and you're going to get to that newsletter. And at the bottom of this newsletter, I'm offering that $50 deal. So you're saving $75, and I'm going to take care of you for the entire year. I'm going to point out where you're going to be at your highest or at your lowest time. And trust me, once you do that, you're going to get those window dates, those cosmic biorhythm every single year of your life, because it ain't going to be at the same day at the office when I tell you during those 3 days you are going to expect something extraordinary, unusual, and when it happens, you're going to say, oh my God. And that's why I'm offering your audience the opportunity to check their own cosmic biorhythm for 12 months for $50 instead of $125. That a deal?
That sounds like a deal.
Especially when you're talking about your life. It is a deal.
Right.
But life is priceless. So I'm doing my best to educate people, but it's still some work for me to work out those dates. So I'm kind of very busy because people are not stupid. I'm constantly blasting the internet with the result of my predictions, including the one that I just put out about Muhammad Ali being hospitalized 2 years ago. This is exactly what I wrote in 2015. Here we go. And again, I was right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Do you have any predictions about who will be the next president of the United States?
And again, you have to check on all the people astrological charts in order to point out the one that has the best stuff. For example, President Obama was born with the same exact dragon than the United States. He was born in August, with the head of the dragon in August, and by God's order, America is designed to be the top country, the leader country in all the world. And if you want to count 10 from July 4, 1776, now you can end up in the career of America. What is America standing for in the world, in her career? And that leads you into the sign of Aries. Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars is called in Greek mythology the Lord of War, depicting why America is the mightiest war machine in the world.
Wow.
It's all so simple. And this is why the Illuminati do not want you to know. This is why all the popes since forever were taught astrology by the Vatican Council. Again, you can Google Dead Sea Scroll dr-louis-turi, and then you will see the pictures of the Pope being taught the power of Scorpio, which I'm trying to teach the police, by the Vatican Council. This is real. And these people do not want you to know. Jesus' initial ministry was cosmic in nature, because the first words of the Bible are very clear. 3 wise men following the stars, right? And you cannot follow a star on the back of a camel unless 2,000 years ago they built turbocharged camel. But they don't do that. They never did that.
Sorry, UFO.
Right. So you can only follow a star when it's plotted in the map. And those 3 wise men, those 3 astrologers, were also space travelers. Their mission was not to bring some chocolate to Jesus and take off. They stayed with him. They built this cosmic consciousness in order for him to introduce humanity to our Father in the heavens, which means the God that everybody is afraid of, the God that's going to send you to hell, is a joke.
Yes.
God is cosmic in nature. He created the heavens and the stars. He's not going to send you to hell because you're already on hell in your fears and stupidity. And that's where dr-louis-turi comes in, very honestly, very openly, with the undiluted truth. That so many people are unwilling or unable to reach the truth. And it's only when the student is ready that the teacher will appear. And for me to be with you and talking to you guys is not an accident. You simply vibrate at my cosmic speed. Simple. Because a magnet will attract a piece of wood. Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dr. Turi,
Feels good.
in your opinion, in your cosmology, who was Jesus? Was he human? Was he a hybrid? Was he an alien? Extraterrestrial?
Jesus was nothing else than a man like you and me, or like me, or like any other man. He was chosen. And that's where a lot of people disagree with me. A lot of religious fanatic wants to nail me on the cross or burn me on the stake, more precisely. This is where people who have never, ever dealt with a UFO in their life, people who could never attract, by the way, such incredible experience, because, as I said, a magnet will attract a piece of wood. You got to keep an open mind, or have a very original UCI, a very original, unique celestial identity to attract, like I did. So many.
What would happen? What was your experience? What happened when you in the UFOs?
You're speaking a bit too fast. Say it again.
What was your experience that changed you so much with the flying discs or whatever form they took?
No, we're not talking about a flying disc. We are talking about a flying saucer suspended 30 feet above my head. You're talking about me getting inside. You're talking about me talking to these people. And that's where the problem is. A lot of people it's too incredible to be accepted as reality. But the legacy they left me by downloading the cosmic codes is undeniable if, again, you take the time to investigate it. UFOs and extraterrestrials have been with me since the age of 6 or 7 years old. And again, type UFO experiences Dr. on Google. I'm sure there's so many articles out there that you may be able to read at least 4 of them, starting from when I was 7 years old, and they were bothering me every single night. I was petrified, but I also knew the next morning, even though that I was scared to death, I was going to be fine. The second one is when I took my sister, and I cut the shades, I'm going straight to the point, okay? The second one is when I was about 22, 23, on my way back from the Royal School of Music from England. I came back to visit my family. I was very happy to see everybody, but my little sister was not there, and I asked for her. And my mom said, oh, she just took the bath, she's going to work. And I said, but it's Sunday. And then she came back. She came back and she was upset. She actually missed the bus. And then my mother says, well, no worry, Louis is going to take you there. But you know what? In 1972, 73, we didn't have cell phone. We didn't have GPS. Okay? And I don't know if you ever drove in the south of France or in the French Alps. It's like gruyere. It's like, holes everywhere. It's like roads everywhere. It's just incredible. So obviously, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. My sister is asleep. I'm desperate for a cup of coffee. I'm falling asleep myself. And in the middle of nowhere, in the south of France, in the middle of the mountains, I stopped the car to a little warehouse that was open. I mean, how can you have a little restaurant open in the middle of nowhere? This is not America, in McDonald's, 24-hour service.
Right.
So anyway, I went in there. I said to my little sister, sit there, and went straight to the bar. And then as I was standing at the bar, there was 3 guys. I thought they were loggers because, my nose was at their belt. I have to tell you how big those guys were. And they were looking ahead, motionless, no expression whatsoever. Indeed, the men in black are very real, trust me. And then one of them turned around and says to me, Louis, do you want to play cards? I freaked out. Never met the guy in my entire life, and he's calling me by my first name. Next thing you know, he's showing me some cards, and I pulled the cards 2 or 3 times. He was telling me, before I could do anything, it looked like as soon as I saw the card, he was telling me what it was. And I thought, well, that's an interesting game. Then he looked at me and he says, Louis, this is not a game. Whoa, wait a minute here. Now I freaked out, and all of a sudden I felt like someone stick a screwdriver from my right to my left temple. I was holding at the bar in an excruciating pain. I managed to go to the bathroom to put some cold water in my face because I was about to pass out. And the bathroom was less than 10 feet away. The door was open. I didn't close the door. I was connected with this guy in my head. Like I had a chain, 10-pound chain in my head. And I was talking to him, what the hell are you? What are you doing to me? Well, I might be small, but you better tell me what the hell's going on. And I walk out in less than 30 seconds after putting some fresh water on my face not to pass out. They were gone.
Right.
I asked the guy, what the hell? All those guys, and who are they? The guy says, I don't know, they just walked before you. You didn't see the car, so they didn't see no car. I wake my sister up and I said, let's get the hell out of here. We took off, and the next thing I remember, it's 9 o'clock the next day. I'm driving.
Wow.
So my sister, what the hell have I been all night? What did they do to me? That's experience number 2. Experience number 3. I was my brother during those days. I was about 26 or 27 by then. My brother used to own a discotheque in the south of France. And we lived in a farm away from the village. And then we had to drive through the vineyards every night at 10 o'clock to join us, the main road that would take us to the highway. And about an hour later, we would be at the discotheque. And that November 11.
Oh, there, Dr. Turi. I'm sorry, it's the top of the hour. We'll be back in 5 minutes. We're on episode number 3. So, listeners, thank you. We'll do our second half of the show. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sacred Matrix from Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com with your host, Janet Lesson, and Dr. Sasha Lesson. And before we get back to our show with Dr. Louis-Turi, I want to remind everybody that Revolution Radio is listener-supported. So please do go over now to the donation button and donate what you can. Please donate $1, $5, $15, $20, whatever you can afford to give at this time, and the donation is greatly appreciated. So thank you very much for your donation. Your donations keep our programs on the air. And Dr. Turi, are you there?
I am here.
Okay, we were sharing how your third UFO experience, the first 2 were very incredible. And we definitely want to hear the second 2. And then after that, I do have a couple people that want to have readings.
Including Janet.
And me and Sasha, maybe you can start with us, but let's finish the experiences you had with the UFOs.
All right. First of all, because I can barely hear you guys, I have to kind of speak with a loud, and that could sound, authoritative or annoying to some people, and I apologize about it. So I have to keep speaking loud so that you guys can hear me. All right?
Yes, we can hear you, and we'll hold the phone. We're on the phone as well because the Skype wasn't cooperating. So we'll hold it close to our mouth close to the phone we speak.
All right, so I don't have to scream anymore.
Experience number 3.
All right. This one took place on November 11, 1981. As I said, my brother and I, we were driving to his discotheque, and it was about 10 o'clock in the evening. My brother was driving a brand new Mercedes during those days. And as we were driving through the vineyard, I saw some light coming from the right side of the car, and I asked my brother, "Hey, Joe, what's going on here? Is people working there?" And he looked at me and he says, "Louis, remember my brother was a Scorpio and very sarcastic and very quiet. When he talk, you listen." He says, "Louis, it's November. Grapes were picked up in September. Nobody's there." I said, "Joe, there's something there." He said, "Oh, be quiet." Anyway, and we drove. And all of a sudden, everything around us was bathed in one of the most brightest light I've seen ever. And we both had our, nose against the windshield. We couldn't see nothing. So I managed to get away from my brother, who didn't want me to get out of the car. So much for the big guy. And as I was outside, I couldn't see anything because the light was blinding me. And then after just a few seconds, every single spot of light turned off, and a yellow, goldish, reddish light, like a funnel, was on top of me in the car. And it took me like a little while for my eyes to get used to the darkness. And what I saw is the circumference of the flying saucers suspended 30 feet above our heads. It was making a humming noise. Was probably one of the closest human being under a flying saucer, and you don't get cooked because I'm still alive. I didn't get cooked or anything. My brother, of course, was screaming and asking me to go back into the car, which I did not. I was banging his car, just asking him to get out and give a good look at the flying saucer, screaming every French bad name I knew. But he didn't get out. And then finally, this flying saucer, as it appears, the entire bottom of the flying saucer illuminated again, and that thing that was motionless, suspended above the car, just flew off and passed maybe 10 feet above the house that was on the other side of the road. And I was looking around during the day afterwards. There is power lines, there is trees, there is absolutely everything that would make anyone stopping flying anything in this area. And the flying saucer took off. When I came back into the car, my brother says, "Louis, this did not happen." I said, "What?" He says, "People are going to think we're crazy if you say a single word. Don't say a word about what happened." Then we arrived at the discotheque. I was pissed off. I was really pissed off. Anyway, we arrived at the discotheque. I never seen my brother smoking or drinking my entire life. But that night, he had a used cigar. He was puffing on a big cigar. He had a scotch in front of him. His eyes were glassy. We were looking at each other from the other end of the bar, and the entire place was packed. When we usually arrive, we only have the staff, some groupies there, some bands. We're about to open the discotheque at 11 o'clock. When we arrived, everything was in full motion, and everybody was wondering where we were. So, of course, the next day, my mother called me asking me if my brother was right. He already told my mother, which he's very close to my mom, what happened. And 30 years later, you son of a gun, 30 years later, finally at the dinner table, he announced to everybody that I was not crazy. We actually saw a flying saucer on August 11, 1981. So that is my third experience. And the top of the top of the top, the cream of the cream is the last one that took place August 11, 1991. Isn't that funny? November 11, 1981, August 11, 1991. I was with my wife on the way to Los Angeles. The next thing I know, I could not feel the car's wheel on the road. Felt like if I drove into a big cloud, and I had absolutely no idea where I was. And my wife was, saying to me, "Honey, what are you doing?" I was driving on the middle of the highway under these bumpers that wake you up at 30 miles per hour. And I said, "Oh my gosh, I didn't have no idea where I was." So I took the first exit, and I never forget in my life. I saw a white Toyota pickup in the back. There was 3 guys having sandwiches. So I walked to them and I said, "Excuse me, could you tell me where I am?" Those 3 Mexican guys thought I was loco. I was completely gone, too much pot or something. And he told me, "You are at the Los Angeles Zoo." I said, "What? Los Angeles Zoo? What time is it, please?" And they said, "It's 9 o'clock in the morning." Now listen to me. If I had a Ferrari and I was driving at 150 miles per hour, and if there were no cops or no traffic in LA, I could have done it. So we were sent 90 miles north. It took us over an hour and a half just to go back to where we were. My wife Follow me?
You don't remember what happens in these periods?
Hell yeah, do I remember. I remember I had 2 top hypnotherapists in Victorville in California that was televising my regression. And those 2 top hypnotherapists, I still have the tape, I still have the video. I told them exactly what happened. What happened is the car was sucked into the belly of the flying saucer. And as I was inside, I was telling my wife not to panic because I've been there before for some reason. I had an acceptance, or I was willing to the experience. The same guys that I saw years before, the tall, big, blonde guy, took me away from the car and into a little door, which I enter. Once I was inside, and you can see me on the tape complaining and start to sweat non-stop, like if I had a shower at the precise moment. I was into a form of decontamination little room, and I was looking outside, and I saw the earth the size of a baseball, So it looks like I was pretty far. Luckily for me, they didn't send me west into the ocean. But I remember walking into the flying saucer, seeing the Greys, seeing the Nordics, seeing all the equipment, and seeing my wife being operated on during those days she was pregnant. They took the fetus, and I was looking at all this, and I was not in pain or anything. It's like if I was agreeing with that. Then came my time to go to another room where something like a helmet came from the ceiling of the flying saucer and on top of my head. And then I felt like if I was electrified, I felt like if I was made of glass and steel and imploding. And after that, I am back on the highway at 35 miles per hour in the middle after Los Angeles. So basically, they downloaded me with the cosmic code because soon after this experience, I could not help myself to read everything about Nostradamus, read everything about astrology. I literally drawn so much symbols of UFOs and astrology and God knows what in every single walls and every single door of my apartment. Imagine when the landlord came and picked up his rent and he saw all that. Of course, he fired me. But, I mean, I still have the pictures on my website of what I draw on those all over the apartment. It's to tell you the impact, the drama. And then after that, I was invited by Art Bell in 1995, and I still have the show on YouTube where I predict a religious war. He was in shock when I said a religious war will be taking place in the future, and it's happening with ISIS and everything else. And then in many different shows and television, and I started my career. And then I had my first computers in 2001, and I've been writing and teaching since then. So that's what happened to me.
Story. So you were working. They were the Nordics and the Greys. They were working in alliance with each other, and then did you say your wife they were harvesting a fetus from her?
Yeah, this is why the very next day she never wanted to go back into the house, because the night before she had a premonition. In the middle of the night, she was screaming and asking me to look everywhere in the house. So she had a premonition of what was going to happen the next day, but she never came back to this house. She called a friend, and they drove to Phoenix, Arizona, and she divorced me because I told her when I married her that she may be attracting this type of experience. And incidentally, my current wife, Tarania, she is absolutely amazing, beautiful soulmate, and she had herself 3 gold rings on the finger, and she had another huge astrological ring. And then one night, I saw her going to bed with this ring, and the next morning, the ring were off a finger, and that astrological wheel ring is gone. We looked everywhere since then. We looked in the bed. We looked everywhere. And she says, it's impossible. It's impossible for her to to lose that ring because she would have to take all the rings that were before this ring. And it's very hard for her to take it all out anyway. So she's already been under the eye of the ETs. I'm expecting her and I to have another experience which I hope will be positive. And it's one of the reasons that I don't want to get her pregnant and have a baby. Because of what happened to my wife. Extraterrestrials have an agenda. They are not interested in morons. It's like if you try to start a kitchen business, you're probably going to get the best chicken you can get, so you can get the biggest eggs. So they are not interested in the subhuman. They are not interested in people that are not spiritual or not intellectual. They are not interested in people that are gullible, religious. They are interested in a very, very type of people, and they collect their DNA to repopulate other area of our solar system. So their agenda is very, very clear. They are looking for the best, and this is pretty much, as I call them, the gardeners of the world. This is pretty much a plantation where those who have something to offer them in terms of repopulating with a great DNA to advance their agenda and the human race, of course, these are the chosen one. So all the parents are going. Go ahead.
They chose you. It sounds like to be their spokesperson, and they like your DNA.
That's what it is. They like my spiritual DNA because the physical DNA has not much to offer. I am not Schwarzenegger. They are not interested in the physical DNA because it doesn't give anything. Your body is going to go right back to where it comes from, to the dirt. But the spiritual DNA, or what I call the UCI, is a representation of the immortal spirits. So that type of spiritual DNA is what they are interested in.
I have a question, Dr. Turi. I wanted to just clarify something so I understand it. Were you aware that your ex-wife was pregnant, or was this one of those gray-induced pregnancies that are harvested and you're not even aware?
There's no way for me to tell you how the impregnation took place. But, I had a very attractive, beautiful wife then. As much as I have a beautiful wife now, don't get me wrong, and nothing was wrong with me, to reproduce. So I don't have no answer. The only thing I know, she was pregnant.
Did she know?
Did she know she was pregnant when this abduction happened?
Yeah, exactly.
And
that's one of the reasons why she dropped me after that. Things happened in a way that she was going to go in that direction, and after 10 years or 11 years of marriage, I was kind of devastated, but it was a blessing in disguise because, I landed on my soulmate, and I have much more in common with Piranha than my ex-wife.
So it was a blessing in disguise, and so it was perfect in the end, but at the time it was traumatic, and she knew she was pregnant, and then she lost a child. So
you got
so
it.
do you think?
But I don't think she lost the child. I don't think she lost the child. They took the child.
They took, right. And I was going to say, if they have this child and it's half yours, have you ever seen it again afterwards?
Exactly.
Have they shown you it since it's gone? Have they? Because they've taken mine and shown me later. I just wondered if you had seen this child. Have they shown you this child, even in the dream state? No. Okay.
No, I just saw her laying down on kind of a glass countertop, and a bunch of grays working around her with a bunch of an instrument that I could not even understand. And as you know, grays are just dignified robots that are, responding to the orders of a higher hierarchy. So they're just dignified robots. Yeah.
Your question, Josh?
Happy birthday, honey.
Okay. That was, thank you. It was very powerful. I guess we're getting towards the last part of the show, and let's do some of the readings if you don't mind. And I guess we can start with me. So my birthday is February 654. It's coming up, And can I just get like a general feedback? I don't really have a particular question. I guess what's 2015 have in store for me? Something like that.
Right. So you were born when? February when?
February 6th, 1954.
Okay, I got you. Well, first of all, you have to remember you are an Aquarius, and the purpose of an Aquarius, or those born in February, I was born February 26th, so I'm on the cusp of Aquarius Pisces, and I have a stellium in Aquarius, so I am much more of an Aquarius than anything else. Aquarius was the future, UFO, New Age, astrology. The purpose of an Aquarius is represented by the man in a jar. You're supposed to get into the cosmic code because you have the talent, you have the energy, you have the UCI, and then from there transcribe the hieroglyph of the universe. And the water pouring out of the jar is you giving that wisdom to the masses. Now, you're doing it with me, you're doing it with other people that vibrate at your speed, and you're doing it through electronics, which is ruled by Aquarius on the radio and on the internet. Do you understand that?
Yes. Uh-huh.
That is your soul's purpose. You happen to have the moon in Scorpio, that could mean problems with the mother or with the upbringing, maybe because of deception or drugs or religion, I don't know. And I don't want to know because you have your privacy to maintain. But with the moon in your 10th house, you're supposed to feed the world with spiritual values. And your tail of the dragon is in Capricorn, which enunciate a lot of past life with disappeared civilization and involving metaphysics and witchcraft. So you're a white witch. If you don't like the word white witch, you're a medicine woman, put it this way.
Okay.
Now,
thank you.
Currently, you have the tail of the dragon, which is affecting your mind, and that means you could be working too hard, and that could degenerate you. I could make you also aggressive and too direct. Okay, and competitive intellectually is good, but you could also be too direct and lose people in the process.
That was like you know her.
She probably has magnetic eyes too. When she's upset, her eyes look like headlights. Now, the dragon will be moving in October in your finances area, and that may lead you into contracting yourself and restructuring the way you handle finances. It's like a dying and rebirthing type of energy that's coming your way that's going to affect your self-esteem and your finances. I gather next July, you'll understand a little bit more what I'm talking about, because opportunity will be coming your way by then.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're not afraid of flying?
No. Am I supposed to be?
No. Just question. I wanted to know if you're afraid of being in a high area or confined area or flying.
No.
Good. All right. So that means your first house is clear, and you're forced to structure the world of Aquarius. So dealing with my work, it can only be a good contribution to your own psychical advancement. This is good. Good charge.
Thank you.
You're surely welcome. When it was bad, I'll tell you too. Because I can't tell you what you want to hear. All right.
You can't tell. All right. Let's do Sasha before we go on to our listeners. So, listeners, we need your birth date and a question. So, Sasha, you tell Dr. Turi your information.
Okay, I was born July 9th, 1940, at the stroke of midnight, New York City.
And what's your question?
Okay, so let me dig into you a little bit here. Do you suffer any headaches or sinuses?
No.
Have you ever had any stitches on your head?
No.
You're not accident prone?
Pardon?
You're not accident prone?
What?
Wait, say that one more time.
I was asking if he's accident prone.
Oh, are you accident prone?
No, I just have little teeny accidents, but I don't get really hurt. I'm a bicycle guy, and I fall down in the mud all the time.
All right. Well, you've got the same dragon that I have. So you're born a leader of the mind. But you're not lucky with the government. You're not lucky with traditional work, traditional things. You're meant to be into, your head of the dragon is Libra, which has anything to do with the men's law and the spiritual laws, or astropsychology for that matter. And the head of the dragon is in your home area. That can help you with the real estate. That can help you with mental work. You're born a leader of the mind. As a Cancer, you have to really keep a close eye to the moon fluctuations. In terms of signing paper, your endeavors. Being a Cancer, you're supposed to shine with finances, with money. You're supposed to shine with possession. And part of your mission is to spend and make money in promoting and producing the light through how you're learning. You've got a very interesting chart, but currently, career-wise, you're kind of a parking lot for a while. But the good news is that you will be offered some partnership options, and that's where you want to go for, mostly because you're lucky. Do not nurture fear of not having enough, or not having enough money, or not having enough security. Do you have any neck problem or thyroid problem? Thyroid?
I don't have any thyroid problem, but I do take thyroid supplements.
Yeah, you've been hanged. You're not a young soul, and you carry with you the trauma of your past life, and you were hanged because some of your past life were feminine, and you were also very close to the people you're dealing with in this lifetime during the Mayan time, and you work in the Temple of the Moon. And of course, you have forgotten the wisdom, but it's buried in your subconscious. You're very fussy, though. You don't want to worry too much about everything, or your health, for that matter, because you have been a medicine woman witch. So nature, green plant, homeopathic healing is something that you do naturally. But you're very competitive, sometimes a little bit too impatient for your own good. Now, the next dragon is going to be moving in your mind and in the affairs involving foreign land and foreigners. So I can see you doing some traveling. I can see you doing some study, some writing, some talking. There's a lot of interesting things coming your way, especially during your cosmic biorhythm, your positive cosmic biorhythm. October in April will always be interesting month for you. It can only be universal, but in order to be more precise, you would have to undergo your cosmic biorhythm on a personal level. So April and October will be quite interesting in 2015. You got all that?
Got it. Thank you.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
You're surely welcome.
Let me get
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. Let me get the, let's see, well, who was it? Hippie Chick wants to know, her birthday is 4/20 of 55, April 2055, and her question is, will I have victory in my legal case?
She was born with the head of the dragon in Sagittarius, and that makes her lucky with the codification of power of attorney and the legal system. Plus, she is herself like an investigator. She is herself an FBI agent. But I could see that she's too much into her own self sometimes, and she should not talk too much. She talks too much. And whatever she says could go against herself. I see some problem with siblings when she was growing up, if she has any. But I see some problems also with communication. Currently, the tail of the dragon is on herself, so she's not having exactly a good time. But I would recommend her to socialize a little bit more and go and get wishes, because if she doesn't have friends, if she doesn't socialize, a lot of the wish will go through her fingers. Wishes can only be granted by friends and through social interaction, and she doesn't go out enough. And incidentally, she's very intellectual. she's very psychic, she's very spiritual, very artistic, very intellectual, and if she concentrates a little bit more, she could become a writer or a teacher herself.
Wow, thank you.
That's what I have for her.
I wish you win her case or not.
Yeah, another case.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, I asked our producer to ask the listeners if they have any more questions, but meanwhile, we've got about a half an hour left. What do you want to go over? And then when someone pops in, I will tell you what their question is. What would you like to cover in our last half hour of the show?
Well, it is important to realize that the world is changing drastically. And humanity has to reevaluate this perception to the spirit, to God. The God that many people fear, the God that's supposed to send you to hell if you don't fear it or don't give him any money, this God is false. The God, the cosmic God, speaks through his creation. And this is why in the Bible it is said, I'll talk to you, you won't hear me. I present myself to you, you won't see me. One has to raise his cosmic consciousness in order to perceive the Creator in his divinity, in his expressive beauty, in his infinite power. And in order to do that, one must bypass the fear or the secure zone that somebody may have failed in. It could be either scientific and breed skepticism, atheism, or it could be religious, and immediately the soul is frozen and paralyzed and not allowed to swim upstream. There is that new perception of the spirit. There is the new dragon in Pisces will force people only to go up or to go down. This is why I'm expecting a lot of suicides. A lot of people starting their own religion, as we saw no long ago. This crazy guy in Hollywood started his own religion. So we have now 875 different religions, including this very famous actor, New Religion, per se. Okay? So in the name of abuse, control of information, the Vatican, which is nothing else than a corporation, wants to maintain its power, wants to maintain its lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people do not understand that the very people that deny astrology are the people who are using it on a daily basis to control you. And I'm surprised I'm still alive, offering such an arguable, trustworthy prediction to the world. And
so how is the Vatican controlling us using astrology? Give us an example, please.
Of what?
How is the Vatican using astrology to control humanity?
Well, let's put it this way. Astrology, the stars do not care. God don't care. God can create an earthquake, kill innocent babies. The God that people are following nowadays doesn't give a damn about you and will never hear you or your prayer unless you get lucky and land on your lucky cosmic biorhythm. Your prayer will never be answered. This wisdom can easily be used to manipulate, to plan an attack successfully. Let me give you an example. Imagine me in 1912, before the Titanic maiden voyage, sitting there screaming, Captain Smith, what are you doing? You guys are going to sink. This ship is doomed. You are going after the full moon. You're going when the moon is in Pisces. And you are going when Mercury is retrograde. The same type of energy, of course, that blew up the shuttle and killed 7 astronauts. regardless of my efforts. They never listened to me. As I never did and never will. So imagine, what do you think the people of that time would have done to me? They would have thrown me to jail. And then 4 days later, 2,500 people, the Xinjiang, and then thousands of people died. Now, what would have happened to Dr. Cherry? That's the question. You can use...
Yeah, you would have been in great danger, of course. So
exactly. Now exactly. There are corporations out there that could use my talent to pick up the best productive element for their corporation. Now, he's not the one who is going to throw $200 million to make a corporation growing that I would take, because this very person might have the tail of the dragon in the 8th house of the corporation, inside the corporation, or run off with the corporation. See?
Yeah.
So,
there was a story that J.P. Morgan had invited all the other rich guys that were his rivals for a free trip on the Titanic, and at the last minute, because he didn't set it all up, and he knew.
He didn't go because he was an astrologer. He knew the stars. He knew.
Yes.
Now, what I'm trying to tell you is I'm trying to bring that wisdom not only to the general public, but to the police, because too many people are dying. And then innocent people, not just cops being shot by crazy lunatic out there, but cops who have no business being cops shooting innocent kids. I'm not standing for the police or not standing for the crook. I'm in between. I'm offering an opportunity for science to realize what I have can be scientifically investigated because it is repetitive. When I gave the exact date for Katrina, when I gave the exact date, George Norrie, for the tsunami in Japan, and all the earthquakes that I have collected on my website, days, weeks ahead of time. Even last time, I think I was on your show, and I said, be ready for some very surprising negative natural disaster. And a couple of weeks later, you had, I think, a couple of hurricanes that went close to Hawaii. Do you remember?
Yes,
And I gave you the exact dates. But chances are you did not make a note of those dates, or you didn't check it. But I'm refreshing your memory.
We moved the hurricane away. We all prayed it away.
So what I'm trying to tell you, I gave you a set of dates earlier, and it's crucial to pay attention. But the people that should pay attention are not listening to your show.
Now, you know what? People are listening, but they're pretending they're not listening. Because you've got a great batting average, and you'd be a fool not to listen to your predictions.
Well, and you have to keep in mind that 24/7, I'm on my computer, I'm writing, and I'm harassing everybody because I'm very confident and I know what the hell I'm talking about. And I'm not afraid to go directly to the NSA, to the FBI website, to the police website. I'm not afraid to blast everything like a nuclear explosion trying to give these people a wake-up call. And there are some of them that take the time to behave like real cops and real investigators, and they realize that I know what I'm talking about. But it's such a minority. But that has to change, and guess what? In 3 years from now, the dragon will be moving in Aquarius. Aha!
What does that mean?
Well, that could mean the last age experienced by humanity, if those people do not understand the stars and start to play around with nukes, and we are aiming on that direction already. Yeah.
So you can see pretty much, you can do a chart for all of humanity or something. You can do for the whole planet.
Exactly. And, well, I was born like Nostradamus in the south of France, and I always say to people, I have nothing to do with Nostradamus, apart from that I rekindle his old astrology, and I was born in Provence like him under the same stars. That's all I have to do with Nostradamus, okay? But
right.
but there is something, there is a reason for me to be born in the same area than the prophets.
Right.
When people call me CNN before CNN, they don't make it up. They are. I have some very, very astute, very smart VIPs on the Cosmic Code and students that I don't even have to convince about any of the data I gave you earlier. They already know that is money in the bank. But as I said, once the Pisces dragon moves over, or the age of Pisces gives way, forcing a full restructure of religion, because the generation that are born today, they are not stupid. The generation which is about to take power, I call them the OCD generation. So you can Google OCD generation dr-louis-turi. And then you can read what those people have done and what they're about to do in the government. Now, this generation will be replaced by another generation who has a different set of thoughts. And unless the old generation dies and gives way to the new generation, progress is extraordinarily slow to take place. And then you have people that are born in older generation like me, but born with such an advanced UCI that I happen to be 50 years ahead of time. And I don't even know if we're going to be able to make it to 50 years from today.
Right.
It is. So, but when you look at the billions of dollars that is wasted to go on Mars, for God's sake, when Mother Earth is showing serious sign of suffocation, what is their priority? Well, like the Vatican, the people, the scientific matrix are the scientists of the 60s that were paid by the government. These people had children that went to NASA schools, and they're trying to maintain their matrix by, discovering a new planet that has always been there every day. It's pretty much like Nostradamus discovering America. It's always been there. So, what I'm trying to...
Okay. We're running right out of time.
So I have one burning question. The Earth was, that is, the Earth as we know it, was formed maybe 4 billion years ago. That was its birth date. What is coming down for the Earth in terms of its chart? Do you figure things that way?
Well, the Earth is like a dog. When she's somewhere, somehow she's able to give it a freeze now and then. And if you could look a couple 100 miles below your feet, you'll see a hell of a lot of generations that have followed the same footsteps than we did and end up exterminated. There's no mystery about it. This is real. So Mother Earth, you'll be gone, and humanity will be gone a few more times before Mother Earth finally be swallowed by the sun, which is a scientific fact. So anything that is born is doomed to die and to rebirth because there is no death in different levels, okay? Even in parallel world, there is no death. Every single star that you see above your head supports life, every single one of them. But you cannot see it or you cannot perceive it with your 5 human limited faculties. The lights on around those suns are very, very different than the one that we have on Earth. But it's like trying to explain how a computer works to a fish. It's not designed to understand or deal with a laptop. And that's where we are. That's where humanity is at that point. Then you have a bunch of educated morons who think they know better. That's what really makes me laugh. These people that I'm trying to educate, they think they know better than Einstein. They are a bunch of kids. They won't even listen to a 65-year-old man who has been through incredible experiences. And the gift that was dispensed by the ETs very often turn out to be a curse because I'm dealing with morons. But there are people like you. There are people like your listeners that are willing to expand psychically and will take the time to listen to us and eventually investigate people like us. And that's where slowly we're growing.
Well, speaking of listeners, I've got a couple more dates Malibu Barbie is October 9th, 1954.
October 9th, you said?
October 9th, 1954. What's coming for 2015 regarding career and travel?
All right. She has oh my gosh, she's traveling all the time because she's a professional student. I'm surprised this person is into what we're doing because there is, I see. She has the moon in Scorpio. So that means she's able to discern the deceptive religious upbringing that she was probably coming from. She got Saturn in Aquarius like you. So this means she's forced to investigate anything that is metaphysical. And she's actually attracting foreigners in this lifetime. And she may be able to speak different languages. She's a teacher, she's a philosopher or higher order. That is a very interesting chart. What I see is there's some problems with relationships or some other contract with the people she's in with. She will have to remove herself from what stops her. And if she is single, this dragon will push her forward in restructuring her partnerships. The new dragon will affect her career and will affect her home area. So let me double check. No, excuse me. The next dragon will affect her work, her service to the world, and her subconscious. So there is a lot that she can expect, especially in exotic places, because that's where she will be more lucky.
Wow. Okay,
So,
is that all you have for her?
Well,
let me know when you're done. I'll go give you the next one, but I don't want to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Now, being a Libra, she has to learn all about the laws, and she's born a writer, she's born a teacher, she's born a photographer, she's a messenger of the gods. So she's a jewel. She might also look younger than her age, and everything in her life will be 2, 4, 6. Always better on 2 and 4 and 6 than 1, 3, and 5. That's part of the rule with such a dragon. Extraordinarily lucky, on point grounded with pointers that will challenge her outside of religion and science. In fact, she could be a real good teacher herself. But she has to stop studying and start teaching. I don't know who she is, but that's what I see.
Thank you. I'll see if you get a reading, listeners, maybe give us some feedback. Have it in the chat, and Sean will forward it to us.
They sure fit us, the readings we got.
Yeah, they were very accurate. I don't know if this is a male or female. It's Philamo, February 4th, 1969. No questions, just a date. February 4th, 69.
69, yes? 59.
69, yes. That was a very good year, 69.
The tail of the dragon is in the mind. That means there is always a fear of talking, because the soul is very rational, very logical, very traditional. The soul is forced to explore the world of Aquarius and go against tradition in this lifetime. This is the type of person who is testing me to the limit, either because of its scientific or religious background. That could be one of those scientists that I was referring, or cop, or priest, somebody that does not really understand the soul's purpose of Aquarius, which is forcing the soul to expand outside of the codification of thought. There's definitely a philosopher, there's definitely a teacher, there's definitely somebody involved with the laws, either physical or spiritual, as I said earlier, a cop or a minister or a teacher. Definitely a brilliant person, providing a person does not listen to the codification of thought or himself or herself, and start to tab a little bit more on the challenge that I'm exposing tonight, to think for oneself and not like the books. That's what I have for that person.
Okay, excellent. I put out the last call, but didn't get any. But we have, let's see, how many more minutes we have? Probably about 10 more minutes.
We want to know about your books and the websites. And,
well, we'll do that in the last minute. What do we cover for the last 10 minutes? Go ahead. Give us your best. What do you have for our listeners for 2015 in general?
Yeah, well, again, when I do a reading on Skype, I recommend the person to tape everything, because I'm sending people sometimes 4 or 5 years into the future and giving very specific prediction or very specific timing that has to be recorded on Skype. Again, $700 for a reading is very, very expensive. And because it is the holidays, I'm offering, there is deals that are going on right now. So anyone interested for a reading, first of all, you have to be patient. There's no rush. And you have to call the office. You have to call Terania. And then by going to dr-louis-turi.com, my name, dr-louis-turi.com, you can always email me or Terania from there, or you can call the office, 602-265-7667. I repeat, 602-265-7667. And then you'll deal with Terania. She's in charge of the scheduling. And all I can tell you is I'll take good care of you, but don't expect me to spare you. There is no way that I will spare you by telling you what you want to hear. If you want to do that, you have to call the California psychic. These people, they do need more help than you do. That's why they're doing this job on Sunday afternoon. They are not professional. Okay, with me, you're going to hear the undiluted truth. You need to hear what you need to hear and better yourself. You need to realize the fears. You need to realize the future is a reincarnation of the thought. You cannot misuse the superconscious in time and space. I would point out the purpose that you have through your sun sign, and you see me and I see you. I point out your money-making scheme potential, your thinking process. I point out your home area, your love area, your creativity, your health, your marriage potential, your way of dealing with metaphysics. And if I tell you you're a white witch or a medicine woman, if you like it better, don't freak out, because that's what you are. I can point out your connection with foreigners, living in foreign land, the potential out there, the best career that God designed you to aim for. I can tell you exactly what to do to get to your wishes and how to make good friends on the social scenery. I can point out all the very secret power of your subconscious. And if I point out also one of my books, or if I see, for example, you're so advanced, I already know the consultation would take you nowhere because you're too advanced. So you have to take the course. You can't, I tell people you're like an airplane, okay? Okay, I'm going to give you the shuttle, and I want you to fly the shuttle. And then you're going to turn around and say, I can't. Of course you can't, because the only thing you know about a shuttle is a wheel. Okay, and you haven't learned the aeronautical maps, you haven't learned the electronics, you don't know nothing about a shuttle. How the hell can you take off? And if you manage to take off, you're going to crash. That's what's going on. If you don't own cosmic consciousness, you ain't going to be taking off, and you're going to have a lot of problems. You cannot go out there without understanding and respecting both the laws that are written by men and the laws that are written, that are exposed through the cosmic codes by a cosmic God. And that's the difference between Dr. Turi and any other guys out there or ladies that do this type of work. Now, I just yesterday I had this lady and I said, I see food with you on the reading. And she goes, and I said, do you like food? Are you into food? Or do you take care of some people? She says, no, I don't, no, Dr. Turi, absolutely nothing. You lost me here. And then during the conversation, she said to me that she was about to open a bed and breakfast. Oh, my God.
Oh.
I said, oh, my God. So sometimes it's so obvious. You know, it's like a child holding the hand of a mother and saying, Mom, right in front of the ocean, There's a lot of water here, but there is no fishes because he doesn't see the fishes. See what I'm saying? So it's a training process. When I do a reading, I know immediately the way I should approach you, because if your Mercury is an earth sign, I have to give you strong background. I have to give you some logistics. I have to approach you rationally. If you have your Mercury in Pisces, in Cancer, or Scorpio, you're going to be at the same wavelength that I am. The metaphor, the pictures I'm going to show you, everything I'm going to say will be so fluid, you'll catch it right away. And that's why I have some people that I've served in the past that are massacring me through other websites because they just don't get it. Regardless how much I try, unless they take the course, they cannot walk they cannot run unless they learn to walk. So these people are too smart. They're too smart to gain anything from a consultation. Then I tell them after the consultation to really understand all that we are talking about today. This can only be done if you take the course. And then guess what? Most of the time, these people take the course. They take my home course. And after digesting the 16 cities and read all my books and giving the exam, they graduate at 85%. The very people that couldn't get it at the very beginning are engineers. They are rational. And then you cannot approach them too fast because they're going to say, oh, that's bull. Oh, that's pseudoscience. Or that's not real.
Right.
But those that have a good mind and that need to be educated with some serious grounding all along, something that cannot be done on a reading. If you're advanced, you're going to have a phenomenal reading with me. You're going to be in paradise. You're going to make good use of your investment, okay? And I shout out $700 because I know why.
Are these internet classes or are they in person?
Oh, no. I'm about to retire, so I'm teaching, I don't know. Maybe if you invite me in Hawaii, I'll be teaching over there because, but if not,
okay. We gotta bring everyone here.
If not, you could take the course on cities. You could take the course at your own speed, at your own pace at home. 16 cities like being with me for a full week, 6 to 7 hours a day. So you're being tricked the way I teach. You're being tricked to build up cosmic consciousness and to build a reflex. And every 2 or 3 cities, you would say you'll be in awe. You say, oh, that's what it is. Oh, that's what he meant. Oh my gosh, I get it. So each city builds your psychical response to the cosmic codes because you're being trained from A to Z with all the dynamics. If you're highly spiritual, you already have those dynamics at a subconscious level. And if you're not and you're a scientist, then there is no way that you will benefit from a single reading. You need to take the course.
So what's your contact information one more time? We got 1 minute left, and we'll be done for today. Go ahead.
But contact information, you can Google Dr. Turi. I'm all over the internet. I've been writing thousands of newsletters about every single topic. Just write my name after anything when you Google, or you just go to www.dr-turi.com. Right there, you'll have my email address, my telephone, or you can call the office and speak to Taranya because I'm not allowed to pick up the phone, 602-265-7667. The reason why I'm not allowed to pick up the phone is because I start to channel immediately.
Okay.
That's not the way to do it.
So we won't get you on the phone, but we have you here. Thank you so much for another wonderful show.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. Good night, everybody.
Everybody.
Bye-bye, love. Bye-bye.
Everybody.
See you in Hawaii one day. Bye-bye.
Yes, we will have you here.
Bye-bye.
Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Who owns you? If you're not in control, then someone else is. Join me, Ivy West, for Voices on the Wind, Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern in Studio A. I discuss government, health, metaphysics, suppressed science, universal mysteries, little-known incredible facts, alternative energies, and even more than you can imagine. Won't you join us on Revolution Radio Saturdays from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern for Voices on the Wind with me, Ivy West.
There are lives in the balance, people under fire, children at the cannons.
Because if your head's in the sand, your tail is a target.